Good morning, Matthew. Thanks so much for joining us today. Obviously, we've known each other a little while now because we've worked so closely with you for the Festival of Learning at Telford International Centre. And I know you mentioned then, and I've seen on LinkedIn and things that you signed up to be a mentee for the Elevate programme. And I'd just like to chat to you a little bit about it today. APCO sort of committed to partnering with Elevate just earlier on this year, but we sort of almost missed the deadline for people signing up. So I thought it was an ideal opportunity now just to sort of touch base, see how it's been for you, what the good bits are, what maybe if there's been any challenges, and sort of your learning experience.
Yeah, great.
So I suppose the first question is, why did you choose to be a mentee? What sort of what motivated you to apply to do that?
Well, I guess it was really good timing, actually. It was getting towards the end of the year last year, the end of the calendar year, and I think sort of November, December time, often sort of people stop and think about the year that's just been and what's happened and what have you got up to, and you start thinking about, oh, next year, what would I like to do next year? And I suppose I kind of got in a little bit of stuck in a bit of a loop, really, that I was doing lots of stuff, lots of really good stuff, and doing it really well. So sort of almost just doing stuff. And I thought, well, what else can I do? What do I want to do in the future, and where do I want to go, and all those kind of, you know, those big questions that you ask yourself just before Christmas, just before you start thinking about all the presents you've got to buy people. And at the same time, I'd kind of discovered the Elevate program. I'd seen it being promoted and sort of the request for people. And at that point, I'd started to kind of do my own little pieces of work around, you know, what am I doing now? Where do I want to be in the future? And it just really was fortuitous timing that kind of dropped onto my sort of screen, and I thought, wow, this sounds perfect for me. This sounds like it can really add value to what I'm trying to do in terms of helping myself. So I thought, well, let's do it. Let's see what happens. So yeah,
Fantastic.
so I signed up.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it as being the perfect time of year. But people do tend to set New Year's resolutions, don't they, and sort of start to look forward and put their heads up and wonder where they're going. So yeah, I'm sure it wasn't just an accident that they did that. And so you've been, what, 7 months down the line, something like that now. I'll speak to you, but why that particular programme, I suppose, because there's quite a lot of different programmes out there, aren't there? What was it about that one that stood out?
Well, I guess for me, it was getting the best of both worlds. It was being able to have a mentor who was completely removed from my daily life, doesn't know me, doesn't know my job, doesn't know what I've got up to, so can be really objective about the things we talk about, but also understands the industry that I'm currently working in. So it can be totally objective, but also, I guess, empathetic at the same time. So you can understand where I'm coming from with any concerns or questions or thoughts, but doesn't know me that well. So it can be really objective and help me look at things sort of from a completely fresh perspective.
Fantastic. And I believe that matching programme is quite something to behold. They're very good at matching you with the relevant sort of people. Have you found that? Have you got a good relationship with your mentee?
I have to say, I could not be happier with my mentor. He is really, really good at asking questions that make me think. And I love that. I love that. I love being able to go away and really reflect on things and try and understand a little bit more about why he's asked that question. And that's brilliant for me because, you know, like I said, I can often find myself, and I'm sure we can in this industry, because it's such a frenetic industry where we just go from one event to another event to another event, and we just keep on doing things, and we do things really well, and we do them quicker, and we do them better. But just to be able to have somebody to make you think about things a little bit more and ask questions that you might not have ever thought about asking yourself, or actually might have been a bit too frightened to ask yourself. It's been really good. So I have to say, I could not have asked for a better mentor.
Oh, fantastic. And what sort of time commitment is it? I know that there's time with your mentor, but then obviously there's that reflective thinking time, preparing for the meetings, maybe even changing what you're doing and what your outlook is for the future. What sort of time commitment, and have you managed to fit that in okay?
Yeah, I think the way that it works for me is that we meet sort of once every 4 weeks or so. Sometimes it's 5 weeks, sometimes it's 3 weeks, and often I will set myself, with the help of my mentor, some things, some homework basically, to go away and either think about or something to prepare. And Mike, my mentor, he's brilliant, and he's sort of like, if you want me to check anything over before the next meeting, just bung it across to me by WhatsApp or by email, and I'll just check it over, and I'll provide a little bit of sort of immediate feedback. And then when we jump on our calls and we spend an hour or so going through things in detail, that's really helpful then. So it's sort of the prep time and a little bit of sort of backwards and forwards with my mentor, and then the 1 hour sort of real deep dive into stuff. And then straight off the back of that meeting, I'm almost always, well, I am, there's no almost about it, I'm totally fired up. And then I will go off and I will spend another few hours looking at this or thinking about that, or spending some time going for a walk for an hour or so and just cogitating the things that we've talked about and thinking about, okay, so what can I do next? So the time commitment it's not overwhelming, but it is definitely one of those things, the more that you put in, the more that you get out. And I think if you have got a good relationship with your mentor like I have, you kind of putting the time in isn't like being at school. It's not like at school where you have to do something. It's like when you go to university and you're studying something you really want to study and you really want to get under the skin of it. It's that kind of passion, really. It kind of brings that out in you because it's, you know, that it's benefiting you.
I was going to say, if you can't get excited about your own career and your own sort of development, then that's a challenge. But I can see that, you know, people do get in a rut, and it is good to just sort of, you know, see the wood for the trees, isn't it? See it from that different angle. And if it isn't too intrusive, what have you learned about yourself? What have you maybe changed because of this program?
Well, one of the things that I went away and looked at, one of the questions that actually my mentor sort of posed to me was, what are you trying to achieve? What is it that you want to do, or what is it that you want to change, or actually what problem are you trying to solve? And then for me, that was really enlightening, because I spent a lot of time sort of doing a bit of a mind map about, well, what is the problem I'm trying to solve, and how am I trying to solve it, and how can I try and solve it better? And it's one of those things where you ask yourself almost the 5 whys, like, why are you trying to solve it? And you come up with a solution, but then you ask yourself, but why have we got that solution and not another solution? And so you keep going down and peeling off the layers. And I think through doing that process, by understanding what the problem was that I was trying to solve, I've been able to think about the way that I almost treat myself. And that for me has been a big thing about this. Not necessarily, I know a lot of people struggle with sort of imposter syndrome and things like that. And I there are times when I have that as well, absolutely. But I think sometimes I am too hard on myself, and having somebody from the outside who doesn't know me, who literally probably within the first 40 minutes of talking to me almost came up with the same thing that most people tell me or have told me through my life. It's kind of a light bulb went on, and it's like, oh, well, if Mike's seeing this and he's spoken to me for about 40 minutes, then maybe this is actually true. And maybe this is something that I need to think about. And I need to not try and solve all the problems of the world and just be a little bit more relaxed with myself. And I can't always get things right. So I think that kind of, it's almost compassion for myself, which is, it's kind of quite an enlightening thing, which after several decades of being on this planet, was really refreshing to hear and to think about.
Fantastic. So do you think you've changed because of it?
I would say
journey.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I'm changing. I think it's sort of a slowly process, because you're sort of trying to change your habits and your thoughts and your world views, and they develop over decades, don't they? They're formed from the second you're born and all your life experiences. So to then go through a program like this, it's not going to change within a second or in an hour or a couple of days or a couple of months. It is a journey, and it is about constantly reminding yourself that what part of your existence you're trying to change can and will take time. So just keep working at it and keep giving yourself a bit of compassion and time, and congratulations for making small changes, but it will take time, and know that it will take time. So that's I'm very, very impatient, always have been, and if I've got an idea, I want to do it straight away, and I think this has helped me calm down a little bit.
Fantastic. And would you have any sort of tips or hints for other people? It sounds to me like you would definitely recommend going through the Elevate program. Is there anything sort of that you've learned from the process that you wish you'd known before?
I think probably the thing I would tell anybody who's starting the program is, don't think you know all the answers at the beginning, because I think sometimes you can go on these things and you think, oh, well, I kind of know what I think I need to change. I just need some help changing it. But actually, with a little bit of introspective sort of thought and looking inside yourself and having that kind of critical friend who doesn't know you and know your insecurities or the way that you work or whatever, you can actually discover some new things about yourself. And so be open to discovering new things about yourself. You don't know everything about yourself, despite the fact you are you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so don't go just seeking confirmation for what you've already thought. Go with a slightly more open mind.
Definitely.
And I believe from others as well that I've spoken to, that sort of being the mentee, being the mentor, being a mentor as well, you can learn a lot about yourself going through that process. Would you consider being a mentor in future?
Absolutely. If there was a way that I could help somebody like the way my mentor has helped me over these past 6 or so months, then absolutely. It's not a huge amount of time in terms of the grand scheme of things, but the impact that you can have on somebody's sort of personal and professional life is incredible, I would say. And even if somebody doesn't get 100% satisfaction from it, even if they only take away one little thing, if that one little thing becomes something really big in somebody's life, then that will stay with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, I was chatting to one of the board members, and she's on it as a mentee as well. It seems to me that everybody in ABCO doesn't have the confidence to be a mentor. Everybody wants to be a mentee, but hey, everybody still wants to learn, don't they? But she said it'd been life-changing too. So I think it is a really positive thing. Do you have any I know it's Monday morning and we need to crack on with your day job, but are there any final thoughts of stuff that I've not covered that you thought I should have asked you about?
No, I don't think so. I just think the whole experience has been really sort of engaging on a different level and energizing as well. When we all work in an industry that is so frenetic, like I said before, it's often really easy to run out of energy, and this has been a source of sort of external energy and support, which has been really, really helpful. And I really hope that I can carry that on for myself being a mentee, because like you say, nobody knows everything, and never will do. So that potential for learning and growing and self-development is always there. And if I can add back, like we said before, to somebody else along the way as well, and help them become more energized and engaged in the process, then I'd love that.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and for being so open and candid about it all, and really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.